So it's Monday, my first day back since I was in a car accident on Thursday. And as I was getting this AC machine hooked up on this Mack Vision series here, I walked under this and stood up, caught the nut on the bottom of that mirror straight to the top in the middle of my head. That hurt. So you gotta be careful when you're working on these trucks. It seems like anytime I've got a hood tipped, I usually walk into a mirror. So we're gonna go ahead and pull a vacuum down on this truck. Had no refrigerant. The customer tried to charge it and it was just leaking out. What I found is this fitting here, obviously soaked, but it's also loose. So I went ahead and pulled it apart, put a fresh O-ring in there, tightened it back up. So now we're gonna let this thing run a full vacuum cycle. So it's gonna pull a vacuum for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna let it sit for another 10 to make sure it holds a vacuum. As long as it's still holding a good vacuum after that, then we'll go ahead and charge it. On these Mack trucks, Visions, Granites, all those, it's 3 pounds for a day cab, 3.5 pounds for a sleeper. All right, so we let the truck pull a vacuum. We're still holding a vacuum on it, it hasn't moved. I mean, it's sitting on the needles on both of them, so I'm really happy with that. So we're gonna go ahead and charge it with 3 pounds. And I don't see it just spraying refrigerant out, so I think we fixed the problem. So we'll just let this thing do its thing, and you don't really want to shake it because there is a scale in there that it's weighing it out. So unfortunately I didn't get to record much yesterday. Just got a little bit on that Mack Vision series that had the AC leak. But today, we got the new oil pan in for the Model A. I got that on. Still need to get the cover over the torque converter and flex plate. Then I gotta change the oil filter on it real quick. Make sure the drain plug's tight because they shipped it loose. Then I can lower this, put fluids in it. I need to do a little bit of a carb adjustment on it. Then this thing should be good on all the oil leaks being fixed. They can take it to the chassis shop now and get all the chassis work done. The chassis shop didn't want this thing leaking all over the shop, so that's why we're fixing all the leaks first. After that, I've got this Dodge Ram out here, Cummins powered truck with a 68 RFE, that the customer is bringing a transmission for us to install. They are supplying their own junkyard trans for this. Now, the first trans that they supplied for this is junk. It builds like 21 pounds of line pressure. So, LKQ is who they got it from. They purchased it though, it didn't come from us. 68 RFEs, we don't buy used ones. We won't do that. If the customer wants to bring one and pay us to install it, we'll do that. But we've had this happen too many times with used 68s. So we only like to see newer remans go in. So I'm going to get to do it the second time. I think tomorrow LKQ is supposed to drop off the next trans for this. Jake is the last one who installed one. And then I diagnosed it after it went back together. Because it actually drove here with the original trans, but it was smoked. But this one's just not doing anything. So, I'll get this one. I don't know if I'm going to do it all the way inside. I'll probably just get it pushed back up with the tractor onto the pad here. And we'll get the 68 yanked out of this thing today. Little teaser here for you guys too that have been following along on that first gen I've been working on. There's a new intake tube. Because we just got an HX40 Super for it. We sent the turbo out maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it's an H1C back half, HX40 front cover. I believe this is a 62, it might be a 64 mil. Billet wheel. This thing is going to be pretty wicked on that truck. I can't remember what the last video I posted on it was, but it's got a fuel pin in it, governor springs. We went to the P-pump style lift pump on it. It's got a set of 370 marine injectors that have been taken up to 450 and flow matched. And I think the goal is to have it done by the end of this week because he's going to take it to a meet and a dyno event. So I'm pretty curious to see what it's going to make. VE trucks don't make a ton of power compared to similar mods on a P-pump truck, but we're hoping to see 320 to 340 horse at the wheel. And I'm not a huge expert on what exactly combinations make what power on a VE, but we're planning on over 700 foot-pounds of the tires. So that'll be the next project in here after these two are done. I know I have some footage from the last time I worked on it. It wasn't enough to make a video, but that'll be coming up soon. All right, so we have oil in it. Got fluid in the trans. We've added coolant to it. The coolant neck is fixed. Apparently it just doesn't end with this car.
That's what you get for a Chinese fucking oil pan.
Yeah, cheap oil pan that we had to wait days for it to show up from eBay. The oil pan's tight. It's actually torqued. And, I mean, that's a good Felpro gasket. It's not like it's a cork gasket or anything like that. It's pushed up in there. Edges are RTV'd. And it's still dripping out of the front of the pan. At least the trans isn't leaking. I guess there's that.
Well, no, I'm just messing with you.
Let's not play that game right now. This car is cursed.
It is.
It refuses to let us fix it and make it better than it was. It just wants to be what it is.
A piece of shit.
I didn't say that.
I did.
I know. I mean, I've thought it a lot of times. I just haven't said it.
I'll say it.
I mean, the trans lines are in my way of doing a bunch of stuff because they're bent up. I don't know why somebody couldn't have made a straight transmission cooler line. Like, somebody went way out of their way to do stuff wrong here.
There's a lot of things that it's why didn't they just do it the right way to begin with?
Yeah. Draining the oil out. It actually is a clean bucket. It's kind of weird how dark it looks in there when it's come out. This is fresh oil. I mean, it's ran for not even a minute, but I'm going to try to lower the pan down and see if we can RTV the pan to the gasket and see if that'll stop that leak. If not, this really cheap eBay pan might actually have to get a real decent oil pan for it, but we'll see what we can do. Like I said, it's just one thing after another on this car. I was trying to get it out of here today so we can get the trans out of those are coming so I can hop back on that first gen and get that thing done because that's got an event this weekend, like I said, it needs to go to. Alright, so I've got the pan drained out. I'm going to go grab the tools. We're going to drop the pan back down again. I'm going to try to seal this entire surface here. My guess is on this cheap pan they've got here, the stamping, it's just not a tight enough radius right here, so we're getting some leakage. So we're going to try to seal it. You know, I've seen some comments in other videos. You know, I have nothing bad to say about this customer. He bought this thing. He didn't know what he was getting into. Whoever built it, I mean, I've said some stuff about this car. You know, it's not great. Whoever built this has a lot to learn. At least I hope they're willing to learn. But the reason I'm showing you guys this car and all the stuff wrong with this is not to trash talk other people's work. I mean, there's work that's at a lower quality and there's work that's going to get somebody hurt or killed. And the reason I've been doing the videos on this car is to show you guys what to look for. You know, I don't want to see somebody else buy something that they think is going to be a good running, you know, car that they can put a little bit of work into and enjoy, then end up with something like this, or, you know, end up crashing on the way home and getting seriously injured. You know, that's the reason I've been trying to show this thing and show what we're finding and dealing with. Just like with this, cheap parts. You know, if you're getting cheap parts, you're going to have to be willing to work with them. We're not the ones buying the parts for this. The customer is supplying his own parts. Because, you know, when it comes to something like this, I would have much rather ordered a nice Moroso from Jegs or something like that. But, I mean, this is a no-name one off eBay. And am I surprised it has problems? I mean, not really. You know, the cheaper the parts, always the worst fitment and stuff like that. I mean, the video we did the other day when I did the headers on my flatbed, you know, $80 set of headers versus, you know, the $500 or $600 set that's on my 04. Huge difference in installation and fit up. The $500 or $600 set bolted right on, zero issues. The $80 set required, you know, some modification and stuff like that. You know, you get what you pay for when it comes to parts. And, you also get what you pay for when it comes to a car. You know, there's a reason that you see these things with such a wide range when you go to look at them on, like, you know, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. You know, I mean, you really got to look at what you're buying when you go to buy something like this, because you can really end up in a bad spot if you don't know what you're looking for. All right, got the pan back together again. I really don't understand why they used Phillips fasteners to hold this on, but that's what it came with, so that's what we're using. We did have to go get one new quarter 20, as you see there, for the pan bolts. I wasn't too happy with one of the threads on one of them. How's it look? Want to check trans fluid? Yeah, that should be enough. Alright, so that's going to do it for this one. Owner's going to come over here later with the trailer and pick it up. So next up, we're going to pull the 68 RFE out of this Dodge. Shouldn't be too bad, it was just out a couple days ago. And I don't know if you guys remember, we had a similar problem to this the last time somebody supplied their own transmission. That's why you gotta be really careful who you're getting a used transmission from, and know the transmission that you're getting. These 68s are known for having problems, so we really don't trust used ones. Well, we got everything unplugged. The shift linkage and the transfer case linkage is off. Front drive shaft is out. The exhaust back pressure sensor here that senses the difference in the DPF to calculate soot load is removed. I still have to take the rear drive shaft out of the truck. It's probably gonna be one of the last things I do. I've got skid plates out. The nuts are off. The trans cross member here. So next up is going to be to get the cooler lines off, which are right over here. I'll get the converter bolts out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the bolts are not nuts. Anyway, converter bolts have to come out. I'll get all the bell housing bolts out except two. I'll leave two that are pretty easy to get to and towards the center. Then we'll go get the trans jack and get this cross member out of the way. Get those out, get the drive shaft out, and this transmission will be out. It's only been maybe a half hour since I started, so I'm gonna guess full time to have this transmission out of the truck probably about hour and 15 minutes. Got the cross member all unbolted here. I've just got a bolt on either side just to hold it up for right now, but the nuts are already off, so as soon as we get the trans jack, take the tension off it, that'll come right out. So now everything but the drive shaft on the rear of this is done, so we're gonna hop up front. Like I said, we're gonna get those converter bolts out of there. Alright, so the 68's out. I just gotta get the transfer case split off of it, and this thing is ready to go back when LKQ shows up.